Welcome back to part 2 of what I'm now calling the Chaos Guitar. All the paint is dry, everything's ready to go back together. I've laid out all the parts here, and it's time to get this thing reassembled. First, I'm going to get all the hardware put back on the neck. Then I'll put all the tuners back on. I'll tighten the nuts down with a T-handle. Now I'll go ahead and get the neck back on the guitar. It'd probably be easier to work on the body if the neck wasn't on there, but for some reason I like having the neck on there before I really start doing any work. Alright. Hey, almost looks like a guitar already. Now I'll go ahead and install the tremolo claw. The pickup set we're using comes with new pots, so I'm going to install them now. The pickup set also comes with a new input jack. This one uses a stereo jack, which will turn on and off the power when you plug in the guitar. I'm going to install that in the switch plate. Now I'll solder all new wires to the output jack. And I'll install the jack. The battery box gets screwed into place, but somehow the little pack of screws that came with the box took a hike. I can't find it. I think it fell on the floor somewhere. I'll find that a little bit later. Right now I'm just going to press that into place. Now I'm going to get the pickups installed. The new bridge pickup has this little plug that plugs into the back of the pickup. So I'm going to run the wiring through the hole in the body first. So here's the pickup we're going to be using. It's a Seymour Duncan Blackout series, but it's a Mick Thompson EMTY Signature Series pickup. It's basically the Blackout, but it's voiced a little bit different according to Mick Thompson's specifications. So I need to get this mounted in the pickup ring. Those of you that have seen my other videos know this is not my favorite part. This kit comes with everything you need for the wiring. Comes with screws and springs and battery hookups. Wow, I got the first one in already. It wasn't so bad. And there's the second one. Wow, this isn't right. I'm supposed to fight with it for about 10 minutes or so. And I'll just plug this little connector into the back of the pickup. And we'll just screw it into place. I'm really excited to see how this pickup sounds. I've never used active electronics myself personally. If it sounds really good, I may have to build a guitar based around one of these pickups. So the wiring on this guitar is going to be a little bit of an experiment. If you haven't noticed already, the bridge pickup is active. The neck pickup is passive. Now, normally, you're either going to have all active or all passive pickups on your guitar. But this one, since Chris only plays with the bridge pickup, hardly ever uses the neck, we decided not to put an active pickup in the neck and save the money and use it for something else. But what I'm not sure of yet is how that it's going to work together. I'm not worried about the active side. I believe that pickup's going to work just fine. But since this kit comes with a different value potentiometers, it's not going to work really well with a single coil neck pickup. So when you play in the neck position, I really don't know how it's going to sound. If it sounds terrible, not a big deal, because he doesn't use that pickup anyway. He's going to mainly use the bridge pickup. So I'm going to wire this up normally, like you normally would if it was both passive pickups. I don't believe that the active pickup is going to hurt anything because there's no power going to the neck pickup. So I don't see any big deal there. I just don't know how it's really going to sound. So let's get it wired up and we'll find out. I'll start by soldering together the positive and the negative wires from the 9-volt battery box. And this will complete all the powered wiring. Next, I'll solder the ground of the output jack to the back of the tone pot. Now I'll solder the hot wire from the output jack to the volume pot. And this will complete all the wiring from the jack. Now I'll solder the resistor onto the tone pot. And I'll solder the jumper from the tone pot to the volume pot. That takes care of all of our tone pot connections. Now I'm soldering the jumper from the volume pot to the back of the volume pot. Now I'll just make all my connections on the switch. And I'll finish up the wiring by running a new ground from the back of the volume pot to the tremolo claw. And that'll complete our wiring. Originally I planned on going a lot more in depth with the wiring on this, but the fact that it's a Fender switch, and there's so many different variations of that Fender switch, it made it kind of really a little bit confusing as to how this was going to get wired. There's no funky wiring in here. It's wired normal like any other Strat would be that has a 3-way switch with just the 2 pickups. And the 9-volt active system is really not complicated at all either, but there's so many different variations of the Fender switch, it really made it confusing. Seymour Duncan includes some really nice instructions and wiring diagrams that are pretty clear, but all they say is 3-way switch on there. They don't specify the different diagrams for different Fender switches. So what I ended up doing is I found a diagram online, and this is not my diagram or anything, but it explains, it has the pins are numbered 1 through 8, and it kind of tells on there how they are laid out in there, and it made it a little bit easier. But if you look around online for Fender 3-way switch wiring, you see a lot of A1, A2, A3, B1, B2 kind of descriptions, but none of them tell you where they're supposed to go. So I found this wiring diagram, and it was helpful because it lists the 1 through 8 on here. And again, this is not my diagram. It's just something that I found online. But it was really helpful between that and the wiring diagram that Seymour Duncan included in their pickup set. We're able to get this thing wired pretty easily. Now all the wiring is complete. I guess we need to make sure this thing works before we can carry on, right? So I'm going to put a 9-volt battery in there. Now the system is off until you plug in a cable. So right now there's no smoke. No smoke. Let's see if we got signal. We have sound. Got a buzz. I'm gonna have to check the grounds. We'll finish putting it together and see what happens. May have to double check a little bit of the wiring. There does seem to be a buzz in there. I'll put the studs back in for the tremolo. Get the Floyd rose back into place. We'll get the screws on. We'll get the springs on in the back. Now I'll go ahead and get some strings on here, and then we can go about getting it set up and really testing it out. Alright, so I got this guitar all strung up, and in the process of that, I was double checking the wiring, and I realized I forgot one ground wire from the tone pot to the volume pot, and that was keeping the circuit from being completed for the active electronics. So now let's try it. That's a lot better. So what we have, bridge pickup, neck pickup. Another thing I found was the three-way switch is bad. One of the positions is not working at all, and that's with the switch all the way back where you would normally have just the bridge pickup, but there's nothing. So what I had to do is change the wiring where the bridge pickup connects on the switch. So right now, the middle position is just the bridge pickup. The neck position is just the neck pickup. So it's either one or the other. I'm gonna go with that for now. We'll see what Chaos thinks about it. If we need to, we'll switch out this three-way switch with a new one and get all of our functionality back. But I don't think it's gonna be a problem, seeing as how he said he only plays mostly in the bridge position. So we'll just leave the switch in the middle and go from there. So we got sound. Now we just need to finish setting it up, get everything adjusted, and get it cleaned up again and buttoned up and take it on down to him. First thing I need to set on it's the intonation. You set the intonation on a Floyd Rose basically the same way you do on any other guitar. It's just that your adjustments are a little bit different. You don't have a Phillips head screw to adjust the position of your saddles. You want to tune it perfect and then fret it at the 12th. That one's pretty good. Okay, that one's off. So to adjust the intonation on a Floyd Rose, you've got to break the saddle loose and then slide it back. This one was sharp at the 12th fret. So I want to lower the pitch at the 12th fret by lengthening the distance from the saddle to the 12th fret. Now that's all intonated, I'm going to double check the action and the relief of the neck. Checking the neck by fretting at the 1st fret and the 13th fret. And I'm checking the distance at about the 6th, 7th string. It's kind of high. So I need to put a little more tension on that neck. I've got all the tension off the strings. I'm going to give the truss rod just a little turn. The truss rod was backed all the way out. It wasn't even doing anything. I'll recheck the relief on the neck. It's amazing what one little turn on a truss rod will do. That's really nice right there. Next thing I'm going to do is cut these string ends off. Surprised I left them on there as long as I did. It's one thing that drives me nuts. I don't know why I can't stand that. I know a lot of people leave the string ends on there. I can't deal with it. There, that's better. Now we need to block off this tremolo. To block off the tremolo, I've cut a couple of pieces of wood that are the right thickness to block the tremolo right where it needs to be. This piece is actually a part of the headstock that I cut off. I'm just going to hot glue them into place. That way they'll be able to be removed later on if we need to. Then I can just reinstall this other spring. Now I'll crank the screws down just a little bit just to make sure everything stays in place. Now I'll go ahead and reinstall the covers for the control cavities. Now I'll adjust the height of the pickup. Reinstall some new knobs. Push down on there. Well, there it is. The completed Chaos guitar. Unfortunately, it's a righty, so I really can't play it. So I'm going to double check the tuning, get it cleaned up. I'm going to take it down to his house and let him try it out. Let's go deliver this. Whoop. Here we go, downstairs for the reveal. All right, so I'm here with Chaos, the Chaos guitar. It's time. Here you go.
Let's see how this turns out. All right. Let's see, viewers can see it first. Let's see. Awesome. That turned out really cool. I love it. I like the way that paint turned out. Using the barbecue paint. Oh, and the battery box frame. That's sweet. Awesome. All right. I guess we should try this out.
Yep. It's set up in B, like you were wanting. It's got Ernie Ball 11s on it. It's got a brand new 9-volt battery. One thing that was kind of weird, the switch in the bridge position is bad.
Oh, really?
It doesn't work. So the way it's wired right now, middle position is the bridge.
Okay.
This position is just the neck. If it's a problem, we can replace that switch so that all the way back is actually the bridge.
Won't matter
right now, that is just that pickup. Forward is just the neck. There's no combining.
Yeah, well,
And everything works fine. All the electronics that we were wondering about, everything works fine. So let's see how it sounds.
Yeah, let's try this out. There's wider. There we go. So, all right, moment of truth. Is that one I use? It is awesome. Did a very good job, Mr. Baker.
Thank you, thank you. So one thing that we talked about was doing some inlays on the neck. And looking into that a little bit more requires a couple of tools that I don't have. So at this moment in time, wasn't able to do anything with the inlays. So if I acquire the stuff needed to do that, we can always go back and revisit the inlays.
New video right there.
There you go.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll probably be playing this one for a while now.
Right on. Cool. So I guess got Chaos's approval. The Chaos guitar is a success. So thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time.